90 seconds. That's all it took for a routine intercontinental flight from Ahmedabad to London to unravel into one of the most catastrophic and haunting disasters in the annals of Indian aviation. In the blink of an eye, over 260 lives were extinguished in the Air India AI171 crash. A calamity so shocking that even seasoned aviation experts and grief-stricken families are still left grappling with the fundamental question: how could a modern, state-of-the-art Boeing Dreamliner, renowned for its cutting-edge technology and celebrated safety record, suddenly plummet from the sky mere moments after takeoff? To truly unravel the riddle of this tragedy, we must turn back the clock to the fateful morning of July the 11th, 2025. The day dawned like any other at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad. Passengers, ranging from families embarking on long-awaited vacations to business travelers and students, boarded Air India flight AI171. The aircraft, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, stood gleaming on the tarmac, its wings promising a smooth journey across continents. With over 240 people on board, including 2 flight crew, 10 cabin crew, and 228 passengers representing more than a dozen nationalities, the mood was that of anticipation and routine. The Boeing Dreamliner, since its introduction, has been at the forefront of aviation innovation. Its airframe is crafted from advanced composite materials, reducing weight and enhancing fuel efficiency. The cockpit brims with digital displays and fly-by-wire controls. And yet, despite these marvels, the Dreamliner has not been free of controversy. In 2013, the global fleet was grounded after a series of battery fires. In subsequent years, the design faced questions about engine reliability, software glitches, and over-automation. Concerns that simmered beneath the surface, even as millions of passengers flew safely every year. At 8 minutes past 8 Universal Coordinated Time, the Dreamliner's engines roared to life, and the aircraft lifted gracefully off the runway. For a brief moment, all seemed routine, but what unfolded next would be seared into the memories of every witness and would echo through the halls of aviation safety for years to come. Within a mere 90 seconds after takeoff, both of the Dreamliner's powerful engines lost thrust. What should have been a routine climb-out turned into a frenzied struggle for survival. In the cockpit, alarms blared and warning lights flashed. The pilots, highly trained and with thousands of hours of experience between them, acted swiftly, frantically attempting to restart the engines as altitude slipped away. According to the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau's preliminary findings, the enhanced airborne flight recorder revealed a chilling sequence. The fuel cutoff switches for both engines were moved from run to QTOF, one after another, within a single second. The record shows the cockpit echoing with confusion and shock as one pilot asked, "Why did you cut off?" and the other answered, "I did not." This is the moment that has confounded investigators worldwide. The Dreamliner, with its sophisticated safeguards, is designed to make accidental fuel cutoff nearly impossible. Yet here, both engines lost power at a critical phase. Low altitude, high weight, and precious little time to recover. As the engines died, the aircraft's ram air turbine, a device rarely deployed except in the direst emergencies, sprang into action, attempting to provide emergency power for essential systems. Despite the crew's valiant efforts, only Engine 1 showed sporadic signs of recovery. Engine 2 stubbornly refused to stabilize. The aircraft, still heavy with fuel and passengers, could not climb away from danger. At a speed of nearly 180 knots, and a scant 1 nautical mile from the end of the runway, the pilots issued a desperate Mayday call. Their voices, now immortalized in flight data recordings, carried a mix of professionalism and palpable dread, aware that the few remaining seconds could mean the difference between a miraculous save and utter disaster. Tragically, the Dreamliner crashed into a hostel just outside the airport perimeter. The loss was staggering: 241 souls on board, including 229 passengers, 12 crew members, and 19 innocent people on the ground, perished instantly. The crash site became a scene of devastation: twisted metal, scorched earth, and the echoes of lives forever changed. Families from across India, and indeed the world, began the agonizing process of mourning, searching for answers, and seeking accountability. In the immediate aftermath, shockwaves rippled across the globe. Boeing stock tumbled by almost 7% in pre-market trading, wiping billions of dollars from the company's market value in a single day. Air India, India's flag carrier with a storied history dating back to the mid-20th century, issued a heartfelt statement: "We continue to mourn the loss and are fully committed to providing support during this difficult time. The airline pledged to cooperate fully with investigators and regulatory authorities. But the real storm was only just beginning. As the preliminary report circulated through aviation circles, journalists, and the public, the debate intensified. Was this a case of tragic human error, a momentary lapse, or accidental switch-off by the pilots? Or was there a deeper, more insidious flaw lurking within the cockpit's very design? Robert Sumwalt, a renowned aviation safety analyst and former chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, commented on CBS News. "The report indicates somebody in the cockpit shut the fuel off to those engines." His words, though blunt, echoed the unease of experts everywhere. The central question now became, was the fuel shut-off inadvertent, intentional, or a result of a latent design flaw that had gone unnoticed or unaddressed for years? Peeling back the layers of investigation, new and disturbing possibilities emerged. The Dreamliner's fuel cutoff switches, it turns out, may be vulnerable to accidental activation, a design detail that, while previously flagged by the Federal Aviation Administration as early as 2018, was not universally acted upon by airlines. In fact, a special airworthiness information bulletin from the FAA had warned that unintentional movement of fuel control switches on certain Boeing models, including the 787, could pose a safety risk. Yet many carriers, Air India among them, did not conduct the recommended inspections or implement additional safeguards, considering the risk minor at the time. This revelation has set off alarm bells far beyond India's borders. If a subtle flaw in the Dreamliner's fuel control system is confirmed as the root cause, it could mean hundreds of similar aircraft are flying with a latent risk. The implications are enormous, not just for Boeing, but for airlines, regulators, and passengers worldwide. Suddenly, every Dreamliner operator is reviewing their own training protocols, technical procedures, and maintenance logs, worried that a similar chain of events could unfold in their own fleets. But the investigation has also broadened to examine the human factors involved. Could a moment of confusion, fatigue, or distraction have led to the switches being flipped? Or did automation and cockpit design create an environment where critical actions could be taken too easily without adequate safeguards? Aviation experts point to a growing trend. As cockpits become more technologically advanced, the risk of automation complacency rises. Pilots, once trained to fly by instinct and experience, are now increasingly reliant on digital systems and automated safeguards, sometimes at the expense of manual skills and critical situational awareness. The insurance sector, too, is bracing for impact. Aviation insurers, already under pressure from rising claims worldwide, expect a surge in payouts related to the Dreamliner crash. Premiums for Boeing 787 models could rise sharply, especially for airlines operating older or less frequently maintained fleets. For smaller carriers or those operating on thin profit margins, this could spell financial distress, forcing tough decisions about whether to ground or retire aircraft earlier than planned. The ripple effect may extend to aircraft leasing companies and manufacturers, reshaping the economic landscape of global aviation. Yet, amidst the tragedy, there may be an opportunity for positive transformation. The disaster has prompted calls for the swift adoption of more advanced safety technologies, such as artificial intelligence-powered monitoring systems that can detect anomalies in real time and alert crews before a crisis develops. Manufacturers and airlines are now under pressure to accelerate the integration of predictive maintenance, continuous crew training, and enhanced cockpit ergonomics to prevent similar disasters in the future. The Dreamliner crash could become a catalyst for a new era of aviation safety, where human and machine work together, each compensating for the other's limitations. However, there is a critical caveat. Over-reliance on technology can be just as dangerous as inadequate training. If pilots are conditioned to trust automation implicitly, without a deep understanding of underlying systems or potential points of failure, even the most sophisticated aircraft can become vulnerable. As one former National Transportation Safety Board chair observed, the key is to determine if the fuel shutoff was deliberate or accidental. This mystery sits at the very heart of the ongoing investigation, and its implications will reverberate throughout the industry. For ordinary travelers, business leaders, and technology enthusiasts alike, this tragedy offers sobering lessons. First and foremost, it underscores the incredible complexity and inherent fragility of modern aviation. Every flight is a ballet of technology, human skill, rigorous procedures, and relentless vigilance. Safety is not guaranteed by machines alone, but by a culture of openness, continuous improvement, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. If you are a frequent flyer, Remember that true safety comes from transparency. Airlines that foster a culture where even minor issues are reported and addressed, rather than concealed, are those that make the skies safer for everyone. Regulators must hold airlines and manufacturers to the highest standards, ensuring that every warning, no matter how small, is heeded and acted upon. The Dreamliner tragedy is a powerful reminder that ignoring seemingly minor advisories can have consequences measured not in dollars, but in lives lost. For those in the fields of technology, engineering, or business management, the crash of AI171 is a stark reminder that even the most advanced systems are only as resilient as the people and processes that support them. Building smarter machines is not enough. We must ensure that humans remain empowered to act decisively and knowledgeably in moments of crisis. If you lead teams, design products, or manage safety-critical operations, prioritize robust checks and balances, invest in continuous training, and cultivate an environment where questions and concerns are welcomed, not silenced. Looking beyond the immediate aftermath, the Dreamliner crash is poised to be a watershed moment for the entire aviation industry. Regulators around the world are already considering sweeping new requirements, such as mandatory inspections of fuel control switches on every Boeing 787 in operations. Some are calling for design changes to make critical switches less susceptible to accidental activation, perhaps through redesigned guards, improved tactile feedback, or enhanced warning systems. The Federal Aviation Administration's earlier warnings, once dismissed by some as overcautious, have now gained a newfound urgency. Airlines that failed to act on those advisories are facing tough questions from the public, the media, and grieving families. The legal and ethical ramifications are equally profound. In the days following the crash, reports surfaced that Air India had pressured families to sign compensation papers, asserting financial dependency before receiving aid. Such allegations, if proven true, could spark public outrage and regulatory scrutiny, not just in India, but globally. The expectations placed on airlines and manufacturers to act with transparency, compassion, and integrity have never been higher. Boeing, once the gold standard of aviation engineering, now faces an existential challenge to its reputation and its future. The company's public statements have been somber, expressing condolences and pledges to cooperate. But behind the scenes, teams of engineers, lawyers, and safety experts are working overtime to identify any possible design or procedural vulnerabilities that could have contributed to the tragedy. The world will be watching closely to see how Boeing responds, not only with technical fixes, but with genuine accountability and a commitment to learning from past mistakes. There are also important historical parallels worth noting. The aviation industry has faced transformative crises before. The grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX in 2019, following two fatal crashes linked to software malfunctions, led to one of the most sweeping overhauls of aircraft certification and pilot training in modern history. In earlier decades, accidents such as the Tenerife airport disaster in 1977 or the United Airlines Flight 232 crash in 1989 drove changes in crew resource management and emergency procedures. Each tragedy, while devastating, has ultimately led to safer skies if the lessons are heeded and implemented. The Dreamliner disaster now stands at a similar crossroads. Will this be the moment that propels aviation into a new era of proactive, technology-enabled safety? Or will it become another grim chapter of warnings ignored and lives lost? The answer will depend on the willingness of airlines, regulators, manufacturers, and the flying public to demand and deliver lasting change. So what practical steps can be taken to reduce the risk of similar disasters in the future? First, airlines must prioritize rigorous, scenario-based training for pilots. This includes not only procedural drills, but also exercises designed to prepare crews for rare and ambiguous emergencies, such as simultaneous engine shutdowns at low altitude. Second, manufacturers must revisit cockpit ergonomics, ensuring that critical controls are both accessible and protected from accidental activation. Third, regulators should consider mandating routine audits of safety-critical systems, with transparent reporting requirements and stiff penalties for non-compliance. Moreover, the insurance and finance sectors will play a pivotal role in shaping the industry's response. As insurers adjust premiums and coverage requirements, airlines will have powerful financial incentives to invest in safety upgrades and risk mitigation. Investors and shareholders, too, can drive change by demanding that companies prioritize long-term safety over short-term profits. It is also worth reflecting on the role of the media and public discourse. In the aftermath of high-profile disasters, there is a tendency towards sensationalism and blame. Yet genuine progress requires a measured, evidence-based approach, one that seeks to understand root causes, recognize the complexity of aviation systems, and support those working tirelessly to prevent future tragedies. The voices of survivors, families, and frontline workers must be heard and respected as part of this process. Returning to the central mystery, was the Dreamliner's design fundamentally flawed, or did a tragic combination of human error and overlooked warnings create the perfect storm? While the final investigation is ongoing, the available evidence points to a multifaceted failure. A potential vulnerability in the fuel cutoff switches, compounded by gaps in training, and a failure to act on regulatory advisories, set the stage for disaster. It is a stark reminder that in aviation, and in any high-stakes industry, safety demands relentless attention to detail, humility in the face of uncertainty, and the courage to act on uncomfortable truths. Here's an industry secret that few outside aviation circles know. In 2018, a Federal Aviation Administration advisory specifically warned of the risk that fuel control switches on certain Boeing aircraft, including the Dreamliner, could be inadvertently moved from run to QTOF. The advisory recommended inspections and, if necessary, modifications to prevent accidental activation. Yet many airlines, facing cost pressures and competing priorities, deferred or ignored these recommendations. Sometimes, the smallest warnings are the ones that matter most. As the final report on the AI171 tragedy approaches, the global aviation community stands at a pivotal crossroads. Will this disaster serve as the wake-up call that ushers in a new era of truly proactive, technology-driven safety? Or will it fade into memory, a cautionary tale overshadowed by the relentless pace of progress? The choice is ours. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you trust automation in aviation? Or do you believe that human vigilance and experience are still irreplaceable? Are you more reassured by advances in technology? Or do you worry that over-automation might breed new vulnerabilities? If you found this story insightful and thought-provoking, please hit the like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the intersection of global technology and economics, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and colleagues. Together, we can build a future where the miracle of flight remains not just a marvel of engineering, but a testament to the enduring power of human ingenuity,